So did you go with them?
I don't know. I just need a card.
You got a picture of it?
I would have to email you that.
I could tell
wait.
you.
I have it. Wait, do I?
If you have it, I could probably. How's it going? You got anything good for lunch? I'm hungry.
Wow.
Hey. Well. You think they would make it easier to search Dropbox? Group summer. There it is. I finally found it. Now I have what I'm teaching you guys. Oh, yeah. Lyric still has to lead a group. Yeah, there's a few others. What's that? We have a few that still have to lead a group, so I don't know if they wanted to do it over Zoom like we had that one person do it or in person. Because that is the key to this class. Learn how to lead a group and then writing up a big $100,000 group proposal.
What is it do again? The writing part?
The first half I had due in November, and then the whole thing's due in December. That way, we have, and this is a part about what you write about, evaluating your group. So like you would see how good your group was at Lighthouse. What we would do is, you know how you create Survey Monkeys on your phone or like on, you guys ever do Survey Monkey? So you got a better one?
No.
There's other ones, but the reason people do it is because it's like anonymous and you can do it during like your last at the school. Shoot. Okay. So here is one of the evaluation possibilities. I'm going to download it. Did you all survive the weekend too? Did you survive your weekend?
Yep.
So yeah, the whole point of this class, you guys watch a mental health group, you observe it, which you've all done. Just make sure it's in D2L. Lead a group, however you led a group. And then, yeah, because the paper's so long, I had you do first half or your outline is due in November, and then second half or the full paper due.
I'm gonna start looking at it.
Did you?
Yeah. I didn't know the well.
Yeah, I gotta start it. I'm going to start it probably this week.
I didn't get an overall scope.
Well, it's usually like,
What's the directions in the syllabus?
yeah, yep, the very end of the syllabus. But when you describe an overall scope, you're just saying what it's about. What is your group trying to accomplish? How are you trying to lead it?
Damn, that's gonna be easy though, because we just led the group.
The more complicated part is like the citations, the like need for the group, the funding for the group.
Citations like
Is 10 pages. Well, like a normal research paper. So you're writing it like it's a research paper.
so with the citations, what if we got it from our group?
Girls Circle is fine, but you might want to go on to scholar.google.com and find like a few others.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, it's other sources can kind of help.
So maybe you go in and see the overall purpose of the group and why people lead groups. Also, funding is a big part. A lot of people go to grants.gov and then find actual funding for that group that you are leading.
You can't make a number.
Make a number
Yeah, you can't make a random number.
of how much it'll cost to run it.
Yep.
That would be fine, but then on top of that, writing where you're going to get the money from.
Oh,
Right?
I'm just saying government.
Right, yes. Which is good until it comes time to like actually getting paid and like living in life. Like you can create all kinds of stuff fictionally and theory, but when you do it like in legit real life, that can be the challenge. That's why a lot of people choose to work for like an agency because they do all that for you. Isn't that funny?
Not really. I don't want to write this. I don't want to write this paper.
You want to write it now.
I don't want to write it all.
I didn't even want to get a college degree, so you're talking to the same type of person. I didn't want to do any of it.
I just know I didn't want to work at Meyer all my life.
You don't want to work at Meyer all your life.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said you do want to work at Meyer. Are you sure?
No. Some people.
I secured a job. I was in the job fair.
See? Social work has a lot of job options.
Man, the dude was on me so bad. You've been on.
Yeah, what's it for? What exactly are you doing?
Quality Moment. So that's the company. But basically, it's a mental health facility, but they don't do like actual mental health. They believe in mental health through quality time. So
Okay.
they doing physical activities.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, with foster care kids. But the dude came in, he like, you know what I came here for, right? I'm probably trying to play the water. I ain't trying to make it seem like I'm too interested, but interested.
Right, yeah.
Dude, like, I came here to hire you. Like, you're hired. Like, we talked for like 20 minutes. The dude was like in love with my resume. And he just was like,
Interesting.
I'll start you off at 20 hours. You can work for me during this, and I'll start you out at 20 hours, and then we'll go forward. Because he said you're the future of my company. So,
Did that seem scary though? Like,
nah, it seems, I know.
you want it nationwide, right?
I do, yeah. So it's gonna be high demand for black men in the social work field. So I already knew that was gonna come. But with that, I was thinking about taking the money in the short time because at the end of the day, I was still trying to get paid.
Right,
So, like,
yeah.
inside the fellowship don't start till next fall.
Really?
When I'm in the placement.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. He's not so get money early and go from there.
Interesting though. It's like sometimes you wonder where they get their funding from. Like, where's all their money coming from?
Good question. But he told me it's Harvard. He like, if you give me Tyler Robinson, like he was telling everybody, if you give me Tyler Robinson, I will pay y'all for the recruitment.
That's hilarious.
Like, yeah, like he just was.
And then what is their company called? Can you look them up on the internet?
Yeah, Quality Moments. They got a whole little website.
So Cloudy Moments?
Quality Moments.
Quality
And it's
Moments.
right around the corner from my house. That's why I feel you too, because I feel like it was too good to be true. But like,
You always want to look it up. Like, let's see here. There you go.
it's by my house too. So I was like, nah, job opportunity right by my house.
Well, because you might be writing a grant for them to get them $100,000. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying if you do this paper up right and create a mental health group and then find the funding on grants.gov and then submit for the grant, you can pay for yourself then too. Trauma-informed care. So you get certified in trauma. You thought he said Cloudy Moments?
I really did.
Okay.
Because I said cloudy moments.
Yeah,
I did
had
too.
cloudy moments, bro. That's
Quality.
It sounds like you're hotboxing a car or something. Like, what's the cloudy moment?
That was the CEO too. Like the CEO came, he said, I'm not gonna run the facility you're at. I want you that bad.
Interesting. So they got AI talking to me already too.
Like,
I'm impressed. Oh yeah, probably one that uses they build Medicare and Medicaid. Did you give him your resume?
he was like, oh, that's how he found me on Handshake.
Oh, you submitted that on Handshake. Okay. It sounds similar to what I did at Lighthouse Youth Services. And he does QMHS. That's what we did. We would bill QMHS,
So,
Quality Mental Health Specialist.
listen, I'm trying to get paid.
Right.
I'm trying to get paid, but I know in the long term, like I know you must be for the long term, but I know what I want to do. I feel like I know what I want to do. Like this is a good opportunity for me to kind of see and be in the field, but I don't.
So who hired you to do this until you get your license and work at Nationwide?
Because I gotta get licensed to do a lot of this stuff. Because he said he's required a license.
This one only requires diploma
Yeah,
and
that part.
right.
He's required a license for that.
You mean a driver's license?
Nah. Like
Oh, okay.
My actual
Okay.
license.
Right. So that is very this is the one you can get your senior year before you graduate. So you could take this test your senior year.
He was asking for that.
Nikita will train you to take that test. So I'm still unsure as to why this will not download. I want to try it again. It keeps downloading as like an unspecified.
Yeah, I even texted a little social work group chat, man. So get everybody plugged in. You know, I was playing.
Listen, I came with my friend, little lady stopped us because she was wearing jeans talking about, oh, you gotta change. And then I had to go with her.
She told you that?
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
she didn't tell me to change. I was actually just so impressed. I was shocked myself. But
Somebody else got stopped?
Man, I text the social work group chat. I'm like, hey, y'all, because he told me to bring a couple of my classmates.
Right.
So I'm like, listen, I got this job opportunity.
I was gonna go too. Like I was really gonna go. Like I got dressed early and everything. But then like my friend, I ended up going with her because the lady stopped both of us. And then she was like,
Really?
"Well, come and she said, "Put on your resume." I'm like, I got my resume.
That is interesting.
I
Oh, yeah, you need to go. You need to go get that resume.
I just feel like I'm too busy.
You're too busy to work, right? You ain't got
I'm
no.
too busy. I feel like I'm too busy to do anything. That thing about it is I'm not. I just feel like I am. So if I have this paper on my mind, I'm not done. I'm not doing nothing.
I feel like the same way. I got too much to do besides.
Yeah, y'all better make that resume. Then you'll get some money. You need that resume.
I need help because I don't know. Because we told me
But Miss Harper and Miss Dunn, they're really good at that. They help me with my whole little resume.
It's hot in here.
It is hot in here. Do we need to open that door to get a cross draft? You don't want to open it?
No, it won't stay open. The trash can.
I could put like a chair out there, right? Would that work?
Put that trash can there.
They old, they old.
I'm laughing that this won't open in any of the programs. Are we already on week 10 too? Is that for real?
Are we on week 10?
Does anybody know?
I'm really following. I don't know. Most of the classes like modules 8 or 9. My intro to water resource class, we're about done with that class.
Right.
Like I don't think it's a fast. I don't think it's term A, but like oh my gosh, it feels like a term A class, and it's not.
Interesting.
Like we're about to like think a couple more modules and we have finals.
It's supposed to be up to 75 again this week.
It's weather, so I'm not putting on nobody shorts and that. It's that weather you get sick in. I'm already feeling like you get stuff.
Right, yeah, the congestion comes back. I get that.
I didn't even think the cold till it was actually winter.
All right, it's officially working. Here we go. We'll probably end up having to watch it twice too. I know. I have to wear short sleeves everywhere I go. I have only run like 2 times in a week. I got to get back out there. Too much to do still. I'm trying, but I have 5 clients in a row at 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's busy. Usually, it's 45 to 50
In addition
minutes.
to an exploration of evaluation and group work, this lecture will also include specific
So clients I see you're asking. A lot of times you make an assessment, ask what they're coming to you for, do the 10-page assessment, which I've shown you guys that before, right? You're going to have this at Cloudy Moments.
Stop staying.
You're going to have this at Cloudy Moments. And it's, let's see if I can find it for you. Have you seen what the assessment looks like? A mental health assessment?
Yeah.
So here's an example we used at Lighthouse to train our staff. When we hired them, just like at your point in the school year. And you do this even for groups too. So let me see if it'll open up for you. That's why it's not working. There's too many things open.
Please resubmit the application.
They want you to apply again?
So I'm supposed to hit the request fund form. And she said, please resubmit the application and use the example from the module to tell us what you plan to spend the fund on.
So like tuition.
Everybody gets money, man. I'm tired of doing this crap. They asked me for us to do the most.
There is a lot. You're right. She knows what?
I said, ask me, I said, I'm gonna a car.
Oh, you have to say for transportation
Yeah,
purposes.
she literally put that in the example that she just sent back to me.
Yes.
Transportation, tuition.
Yeah, you do not write that you're getting the car with it. For some reason, that doesn't work.
But it helps me get transportation services.
Just say transportation.
Right, but you're not supposed to be like, I'm getting like,
Yeah, just say transportation. Make it harder than it needs to be.
are you filling it out too?
No, I'm with her.
I seem to remember that. Okay.
Don't make me mad, like not being an Ohio resident and everybody else is about to get some money.
You could become an Ohio resident.
Yeah, but yours is like doing too much.
It's too
And then, like,
complicated.
the rides and him being back and all that. Like,
Right.
and plus, I don't even know if I'm planning on really staying here.
Budget has been submitted along with Vinny and all attachments.
And I'm down with these already, you know, like, anyway.
All right. While the assessment loads, I'll play this for you guys because this is. Because this is the last piece you write in your paper about how you're going to evaluate the group.
Again, class, welcome to our lecture on evaluation as part of our group skills and substance abuse counseling course. In addition to an exploration of evaluation and group work, This lecture will also include specific descriptions of how the week's materials fit into your group project. As you know, your group project will describe a group intervention, and the proposal will describe the specific population you have selected, as well as the type and the purpose of the group. Further, your group will outline the screening criteria for members, as well as group size, the group goals, an exploration of legal, ethical, and cultural considerations for your group, and termination criteria and measures. The final portion of your group project will be a member progress update created for a fictional member of the group that you've created. In this progress update, you will describe and summarize a fictional client's behavior within your group based on any information you choose to include. You must describe the client's progress and identify the needs and issues that may require a modification in your treatment plan. This progress report should be written from the perspective of the group leader following the 6th session of the group. Be sure to include initial goals and any modifications based on your report. Please refer to the assignment reading rubric for more information, and be sure to use the document as your primary source as your group puts together the group project. Keep in mind that I'm happy to read and provide feedback on drafts that I receive on or before the date outlined in your syllabus. As we look at the objectives for the week, I want to remind you to review the chapter for the week prior to viewing the lecture, as it's intended to supplement your reading. By the end of this week, you should be able to identify the benefits, evaluation, and steps for incorporating evaluation into the group experience, and identify and describe the necessary components in the development of a treatment update for a group member. So at this point, you should have a pretty good idea of the life of a group, beginning at the point where leaders come up with an idea and design and plan a group, as well as an understanding of the different stages that groups go through and the issues related to leadership and group dynamics, and even a bit about terming a group. Today, we're going to talk about the big question of how we know the group has worked. Pretty much regardless of your setting, you'll need to have evidence for the effectiveness of what it is you're doing. In the group context, we must show that the group makes some difference in the lives of our clients or adds value to the service we provide at that site. We could think of a college orientation process as a task group that provides new students with the information they need to thrive in their new environment. But how would we know if that orientation group was successful? Naturally, we would want to know the extent to which the program was effective in delivering the intended outcomes, and there are a couple of ways we can go about evaluating those efforts. So first, what's evaluation? Evaluation is an ongoing process that benefits both the group members and the group leaders, and can track the progress of individual members and the groups as a whole. Evaluation can be understood as assigning a value or worth to something, and in many cases, we can think about using an evaluation to decide whether or not a group is worth the time and the resources that we invest in it. Evaluation provides information that can be used to improve group leadership or the overall group experience moving forward. It gives us an opportunity to measure and communicate what we're doing and how it's working. And it also gives us information on those areas that need improvement. Evaluation can also track individual progress. Evaluation can also track individual progress through client treatment plans and updates. So if we think about that college orientation group again, we would need to consider our intended goals and outcomes. What information were the students supposed to learn? What delivery methods did we provide? A brief survey could collect information on both student knowledge and student experience, with questions aimed to address whether or not they retained specific input, and other questions aimed to address the level of satisfaction. This evaluation could provide feedback on individual members. Did Monica learn where to get her student ID? And could also tell us on a larger scale how effective the overall group was. How many students could find the health center on a campus map? The evaluation can also be used to inform us where we might need to make improvements in the orientation program, and could also provide feedback on the overall enjoyment or satisfaction from members. Keeping in mind that evaluation and the question of whether or not a group has worked will vary according to the situation and perspective. Let's talk a little bit about some methods. Evaluation instruments may be self-designed or standardized, but conducting a thoughtful and intentional evaluation will lead to improvement in the design for future groups. Standardized scales exist as a way to offer greater statistical confidence in your findings, and they can be used to help demonstrate the effectiveness of your group. For instance, if you were running a psychoeducational group for teens at risk for alcohol use, you could have them take an alcohol awareness survey during the first session of the group, and then again at the end. Because your group was intended to raise awareness regarding the potentially damaging effects of alcohol, your sessions provided members with information and examples of these effects, and you would expect that the members would earn higher scores to participating in your group. You can also design scales or surveys that meet the needs of your particular group, but recognize that there are limits to the instruments because they've not been validated and may not be reliable. Despite these potential limitations, you may still decide to design your own instrument, and in doing so, it's important to keep your instrument brief, make sure that your questions are clearly worded, and that your questions are appropriate for the client age and developmental level. It's also important to avoid making assumptions of literacy in many situations, and making sure that group members will be equipped to read and respond to the surveys. A follow-up survey is one way to provide the opportunity for evaluation, and oftentimes members have different perceptions with a little distance, so you may wait a short time before sending it. Another way of evaluating a group is to have members provide feedback while the group is running. For instance, say I run a new activity in one session, and I'm interested in whether or not I might want to use it again for a future session. I could take a few minutes at the end of the group session to get feedback on what the participants learned or found to be the most and least useful. I want to try to do this at the end of the session rather than during a later session to ensure that the details are fresh and accessible for members. As a leader, I could also make observations regarding changes that I notice. For instance, if during a group session I introduce the concept of the group I statements in their communication rather than you in expressing their feelings, I may later observe that the communication pattern has shifted in the group and more members are using I statements. This kind of observation should be included in my leader notes. Once a group has concluded, it can be helpful to collect information on member satisfaction, progress towards specific goals, as well as group processes that occur within the group, like a sense of belonging and safety. To a certain extent, collecting information on each of these aspects throughout the life of the group can provide insights as well. We want to avoid doing so much evaluation that we interrupt group process, but it can be helpful to check in with group members once or twice, depending on your time frame, to get a sense for issues like satisfaction, progress towards goals, and group process. Your authors describe reflective evaluation as a process that comes out of leader observation and serves to monitor group mood, themes, cohesiveness, norms, power, roles, and defenses, as well as verbal and nonverbal participation and feedback. This can serve as an informal kind of evaluation, and these types of observations serve group leaders very well when leaders are able to journal, reflect, and then discuss these observations with a co-leader or supervisor. Keep in mind that co-leaders should meet following each session to discuss their experiences and reactions, and group leaders who are working individually would benefit from supervision in order to do the same. Leaders can provide feedback for each other, and video recording can be another helpful source of feedback, but take care with the suggestions. There are important ethical and legal considerations related to consent when you're thinking about doing recordings. So let's think a bit about your group project and how you'll incorporate evaluation into your proposal. How and when will group and individual outcomes be measured? To figure this out, you need to consider what the group and the individual goals are, how you're assigning worth and value to the experience, how you want to collect and analyze the information, and then what you'll do once you have that information. Your specific intervention may already have the answers to some of these questions, but as a group, you need to decide how you're going to deal with the group and communicate your decision in your project. So imagine that you are one of your clients whom you're likely to serve in your proposed group. Write down at least 2 reasons why they're coming to your group. Feel free to pause this or just go ahead and do it as we're talking. So of those 2 reasons why a group member might be coming to the group that you've proposed for your group project, pick one of these and then phrase it now as a vague goal that a client might come to your group with. So what is a potential goal that a client might come to your proposed group with? Generally, clients want to feel better, but they may have other goals in groups, communicating better with a spouse, or stopping some kind of problematic behavior. So now what your job to do is to turn this into a SMART goal, but making sure that each of the requirements are satisfied. We want to look at these as we break it down. Is your goal specific? When it comes time to do an update, will the goal be clear enough to gauge any progress for you? As you go through each of these and you look back to the goal that you've created, you'll want to think about modifying that goal so that it does in fact meet these criteria. So the first one being, is your goal specific? Is it measurable? You should know how you'll measure your progress. Maybe there's a certain amount of time, a measurable increase or decrease in a certain behavior, but you want a way to make sure that you can measure progress towards your goal. Is your goal attainable? It's really important that members establish goals that are within their reach, as this promotes self-advocacy and can impact motivation for the client. So you want to go back again, make sure that goal is something that's reasonable, that's attainable, that's within that client's ability. Is your goal relevant? Does it relate to the purpose of the group and the needs of the client? If your client comes in with a goal that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what your group's promoting, then they're setting themselves up to be in a bad situation because obviously your group will not be able to address that goal if it's not something that's relevant to the time that you'll be spending together. Finally, is your goal time-bound? Are you clear about when you could expect this goal to be achieved? Having that kind of specific time frame helps the goal become real and actionable, because now we have an idea for when it could actually be accomplished. So again, you'll want to go through, use this slide again as you're developing the goals for your group proposal, and make sure that each of your goals hits all 5 of these basic necessities in terms of creating SMART goals. So now that you have an idea of what an example could be of a SMART goal for a fictional group member, let's talk about the treatment update, the final portion of your group project. Treatment plans and treatment updates will vary from setting to setting, agency to agency. For the purposes of our work together, the treatment update that you'll provide as part of your group project will be written about a fictional group member following your 6th session together. The treatment update must include information on each of the following sections: the client's general behavior, motivation, initial goals and progress towards those, as well as any verbal or nonverbal and resistant behavior from group sessions, and current needs that you're aware of, and any modifications that are required for the treatment plan. In each of these sections, take time to include material from your reading and lecture materials, citing specific behaviors and group dynamics as appropriate. So I offer this treatment plan update as a starting point for anyone who might be interested, although I'm happy to accept other formats as well. Just be sure to refer to the group project assignment and grading rubric to be sure that you fulfilled all of the requirements. Here you'll see room to include your group, the date of the treatment update, as well as the date of the first group session and the number of the group sessions. Next, you'll include the presenting concern that brought the member to the group. This can be a brief overview and need not be more than 1 to 3 sentences. Next, you'll want to include the individual goal or goals that the group member designated at the beginning of the group. Make sure that these are SMART goals, and feel free to return to that earlier slide for help creating SMART goals. Indicate the intended completion date and the progress that the member has made toward that goal. Are they on track? Has there been a setback? Did they successfully achieve that goal already? Finally, document any changes to the goal or the completion date for that goal based on the progress update for your goal. The next phase contains an opportunity for you as a group leader to include your observations regarding behavior, motivation, participation, and possible resistant behavior. This is where your group may need to refer back to earlier lecture and reading materials in order to incorporate enough course information regarding group dynamics and member behavior. This section of the project is an opportunity to demonstrate your ability to identify and describe client behaviors within a group. Finally, you must describe any current needs that may be present. These could be housing needs or other support issues, and may also include some strategies for meeting these needs. Strategies may be within the group leader's ability, or they may include finding an outside resource to help the client. So as we wrap up this lecture on evaluation, let's review a few important points. Evaluation is an ongoing process that benefits both group members and group leaders, and can track the progress of individual members and the group as a whole. Evaluation of the group as a whole can be conducted through formal measures like surveys or scales that members fill out during or after the completion of a group, and may measure things like satisfaction, progress towards goals, and group process. Evaluation can also be done through more informal exercises, like asking for verbal reflection from group members, or group co-leaders taking time to reflect on observations and experiences after each session to make notes on significant events or opportunities to improve the group. Evaluation provides information that can be used to improve group leadership or the overall group experience moving forward. It gives us an opportunity to measure and communicate what we're doing and how it's working, and it also gives us information on the areas that might need improvement. Evaluation can also track individual progress through client plans and updates. For your group project, you'll need to take some time to consider what outcome measures you would like to use to evaluate the effectiveness of your group, and make sure that these measures are in line with the overall type and purpose of your group. Also, your client treatment update is an opportunity to evaluate a fictional member of the group and their progress towards SMART goals that you have decided on together. Please use this as an opportunity to demonstrate your mastery of the group dynamics and member behaviors, and refer back to previous lectures as needed. Finally, keep in mind that I'm willing to look over any drafts that I receive on or before the date outlined in your syllabus. Thanks for listening to the lecture.
Oh, so what was your question? I'm sorry, I couldn't stop it.
No, you good. I was saying, what else could I say to request these funds other than doing help with my tuition? Like, give me something.
Definitely the cost of transportation, the cost of books, the cost of tuition, the cost of. She didn't give you a whole list of examples? That's where your answer is.
Yeah, because books here are like $400.
Yeah, I know. It's all a lot.
You can do room and board. That's part of tuition.
Yeah, I should be.
True, yeah, you could write tuition, room, and board. Those are some other.
Cause they do it, cause they split it. Here.
I had to sit all weekend at hospice, and I did my math totally wrong. Because I think my visit time was actually, I don't even know. So this should always add up to 7, 8, what is 17.5? Yeah, I totally did it wrong.
You write that?
Yep. It's all handwritten, isn't that annoying? So it should have been 16.75 with on-call time of 9.5.
It was at 9:30, 9.5, that's 9 hours and 30 minutes.
This was the miles I drove that day.
93 minutes.
93 miles driving.
Is that a lot?
It felt like it. You think it'll let me edit it by hand right here? No?
Because he wrote it.
Watch.
Or you fired
Make it real big like that and go. Black pen.
him. You on your phone, if you did like,
I did, but now I'm fixing on here is I think that the total hours I worked from 7:15 in the morning until midnight was 16.75 hours. It's normally 8 to midnight, so it's 16, but I had to leave early to get to a place somebody was dying. Then I was on call in between there from like 9:30 till 7. Then I sat all night. So midnight to 4:30, and then somebody came to relieve me at 4:30 in the morning. I drove home. And you go back to being on call until 8 a.m.
What is that you're doing again?
do you
I sit for hospice.
ever,
I did not sleep very much because I got home at like 5 a.m. and slept till like 8.
how are they supposed to have social workers there and they want them to work basically ER shifts?
That's what you know at hospice you're going to end up doing.
You do it every day.
No, I only go on call once a month because it's terrible. It's miserable. Now let's see if my edit even wrote in there. I typed it in with my fingers right here. See?
I can't see that.
That's what she's going to say. That's what the supervisor's going to say. But that's 3/4 of $25. Yeah. So what is it? 8, 8, and 8 is 24. So it'll be like $17 I'll miss out.
Probably.
We don't have class because I'm going to CSWE. So you got 6 minutes to fire off a million questions for your one. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
What?
Starting tomorrow.
You?
And Perdomo. And Nisha.
Why is she gonna be there?
Nikita's not going
Go where?
to the CSWE conference.
When's that Friday?
It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. To keep us accredited through CSWE.
Miss Johnson.
You better ask her that. That's a personal question.
I already know that.
What'd she say? I don't know. She's doing her doctorate. Hello. So she's probably too busy. I get it. She'll go next year. It's in Cincinnati. So I don't get to see you guys for a whole week. And I'll come back tired again. That'll be 13 days in a row of work.